Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. We have a packed show for you this week. It seems like tech is moving fast on, well, two very different fronts. On one hand, huge leaps in super personalized AI.
Right. AI assistants getting really proactive.
And on the other, a massive pushback, legally and politically, around digital surveillance and how our data is being handled. It's like every cool new thing comes with a big privacy question mark attached.
That tension really is the heart of it, isn't it? We're seeing AI become almost agentic, assistants that could practically run parts of your life. But doing that means feeding them huge amounts of personal data. So our mission today is kind of unpacking that paradox. What really jumps out is how fast these privacy issues blow up when you tie them to these giant, inherently risky pools of data.
Okay, let's start unpacking with those privacy battles then. There was a pretty big organized effort this week, the VPN Day of Action, led by Fight for the Future.
Yeah, that's right. They were getting people to sign an open letter, contact their lawmakers, basically saying, hands off VPNs.
And what's driving the push to potentially ban them?
It mostly seems to stem from these age verification laws that have been popping up. The idea is to protect kids online, which is fair enough.
Sure.
But some lawmakers seem to view VPNs as just a simple loophole for bypassing those age gates, something that needs closing off. And that view really misses what VPNs actually are and do in the real world.
I mean, let's be honest, though. Probably a lot of people are just using them to stream shows from other regions, right? So how do you sell the human rights angle or the business need to politicians who might just see that loophole?
You have to focus on the fundamentals, I think. VPNs are critical for encryption, for hiding your physical location. That makes them absolutely essential tools for, say, journalists or activists or just regular citizens in authoritarian countries. It's how they communicate safely and get around censorship.
Okay, so the safety and free speech aspect.
Definitely. But then there's the huge commercial side, too. As industry folks keep pointing out, VPNs are fundamental for employees everywhere connecting securely to their company networks. Think about remote work.
Right, almost everyone uses one for work now.
Exactly. A ban would just cripple modern remote work, cripple internal security for countless companies instantly. It's a non-starter, really. The focus arguably should be less on banning useful tools and more on getting serious federal privacy rules in place, which, frankly, the U.S. is still lagging on.
Okay, so while that fight's brewing against potential government overreach, let's look at a tech giant that just got hit hard for allegedly violating consumer trust. Amazon's paying a massive fine to the FTC, right? $2.5 billion.
Yeah, a landmark settlement. And it's not just the sheer amount of money, although that's historic. It's really a major challenge to what they call dark patterns in design.
Dark patterns.
Yeah, the FTC basically accused Amazon of tricking people into signing up for Prime using confusing buttons and website layouts, and then making it deliberately difficult and confusing to cancel the subscription.
Ah, the old easy to sign up, impossible to leave trick.
Precisely. It's about companies designing complexity on purpose to keep users locked in. The FTC going after that specific design philosophy is the really significant part here, I think.
And that $2.5 billion, how does that break down?
It's split. $1 billion is for civil penalties. That's a huge fine, sending a message that the FTC is serious about this stuff.
Okay.
But the other $1.5 billion is specifically set aside for customers. Anyone who was enrolled or tried and couldn't cancel Prime basically between mid-2019 and mid-2025 might be eligible for some money back.
Even though Amazon isn't admitting guilt.
Right. They put out a statement saying there's no admission of guilt, and they argued they'd already made the required cancellation changes years ago. But, well, settling for $2.5 billion suggests the FTC had a pretty strong case about the potential consumer harm.
Okay, moving from corporate issues to, well, a potentially huge government security failure. There's a new report out from the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee about the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE.
Sounds pretty alarming.
It raises some very serious questions about basic government competence and oversight, yeah. The report alleges that DOGE basically made a live, cloud-based copy of every single U.S. citizen's Social Security information.
Wow.
And they apparently did this without putting proper security measures or governance in place first. Their own internal risk assessment warned about serious cybersecurity
Are
vulnerabilities.
serious.
The assessment apparently calculated a 35% to 65% chance of a catastrophic adverse effect.
A catastrophic adverse effect. That phrasing alone is chilling. What does that even mean in this context?
It means something potentially nation-crippling, like maybe having to reissue every single Social Security number in the entire country because the database was compromised. The scale is just immense.
Unbelievable. And it gets worse. The report also talks about this weird layer of secrecy around DOG's operations. Things like armed guards, physically shielding workspaces to prevent oversight. It just paints a picture of a critical system operating without nearly enough accountability or basic security protocols. It really highlights how fragile these massive centralized databases are.
Okay, so if we're seeing that kind of potential failure in a core government system, what happens when we voluntarily start feeding even more of our private data into these incredibly capable new AIs? Let's maybe pivot to that world of hyper-personalized AI.
Yeah, that's the central paradox we need to grapple with, isn't it? We're seeing tools like ChatGPT Pulse emerge. It's a new feature for pro users.
Why?
It aims to give you this personalized morning briefing. It uses your past chat history, and you can optionally connect things like your Gmail or Google Calendar to give it more context.
So OpenAI is pushing towards that agentic future you mentioned, where the AI isn't just answering questions, it's sort of acting on its own based on knowing your whole life.
Pretty much. The idea is that it acts more autonomously because it understands your context, your schedule, your priorities.
The value proposition seems clear. You get this like presidential style daily brief tailored just for you. Cut through the noise.
Exactly. But the cost, or the trade-off, is giving the machine really intimate access. Your calendar, your emails, your chat history. It's a lot of data to hand over.
Yeah, it is. How does that compare to what Google's doing with Gemini?
Well, interestingly, Google introduced a feature called guided learning in Gemini, which takes a slightly different tack. It acts more like a digital tutor.
How so?
So it might explain a complex topic. The example given was forward propagation in AI training. But then instead of just stopping, it immediately asks you follow-up questions about the material. It forces you to actually engage and think about it.
So it's trying to avoid just becoming a magic answer box that stops people from thinking.
Exactly. It seems like a conscious design choice to combat that critical thinking removal worry that a lot of educators have about these generative AI tools, making you part of the learning process.
Okay, interesting contrast. Now, moving from assistants that process information to AI that creates images, specifically. Google's got a new model, Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, the one nicknamed Nano Banana.
Yeah, Nano Banana, apparently, because its capabilities are, well, bananas. This model is interesting because its main focus seems to be on editing existing photos rather than generating entirely new ones from text prompts.
So less about create a picture of an astronaut riding unicorn and more about fixing the photos you already have.
Kind of. It's designed for really precise manipulation, like seamlessly adding a new element into a photo, maybe removing distracting things in the background, or even creating realistic variations of a landscape picture you provide.
That sounds powerful for creative work.
For sure. And that's why they're integrating it into professional tools like Adobe Photoshop and Firefly.
But okay, if AI gets that good at seamlessly editing photos, how do we trust what we see anymore? What's the defense against, sophisticated deepfakes or manipulations?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the answer seems to be building authentication right into the hardware itself. We're seeing Qualcomm step up here.
What are they doing?
They're embedding something called Trupic C2PA digital content authentication directly into their new high-end chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5.
Okay, C2PA. What does that actually do?
Think of it like a digital watermark, but much more sophisticated. It's designed to securely sign photos and videos at the moment they're captured by the device. This signature can then show if and how AI was used to alter the image later on. It creates a sort of chain of authenticity.
So you could theoretically check if a photo is original or if it's been AI manipulated.
That's the goal, to provide provenance and tackle those deepfake concerns right at the source.
All right, let's maybe cap off this AI segment with kind of a snapshot of where we are right now. 2 quick facts that really show the incredible potential, but also the massive risks. First, the success story.
Success. AI models specifically, models like OpenAI's O4 Mini, Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Anthropic's Claude Opus, they actually passed the Level 3 Chartered Financial Analyst exam, the CFA.
Wow, level 3, that's the really tough one, right?
Yeah.
the one portfolio managers and analysts need.
Exactly. It's incredibly rigorous. AI passing it signals a definite future where humans and AI are collaborating deeply in finance. Hybrid workflows seem inevitable.
Okay, that's impressive. Now, the failure.
The failure. There was this call recording app called Neon. Its whole business model, ironically, was selling recorded phone calls and their transcripts to companies for AI training data.
Oh boy, I can see where this is going.
Yep. The app just went offline completely because a security flaw was discovered that exposed all of its user data. We're talking phone numbers, the actual call recordings, the transcripts. Everything was accessible to other users of the app.
Oh, that's catastrophic.
It's the perfect, horrifying example of the risk involved when you're dealing with sensitive data intended for AI training and you don't have rock-solid security. A total nightmare scenario.
Okay, so with those security risks definitely front of mind now, let's shift to the hardware. The actual device is delivering all this AI power and is generally pushing tech forward. Let's start with phones, maybe contrast the push for really wild designs versus pure software utility.
Good angle. On the wild design front, you've got the new Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. Its standout feature is pretty flashy.
What is it?
It has a second screen, a 2.9-inch 120 hertz display right there on the back, integrated into the big camera bump.
A screen on the back. What's it for?
Primarily, it seems, for taking really high-quality selfies using the main cameras. But you can also run small apps on it, maybe even play simple games. It's a statement piece.
Huh. And under the hood?
It's a beast.
Okay.
Massive 7500 milliharp battery, and it's running that new Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip we just mentioned, the one with the C2PA authentication potentially built in. So powerhouse specs with a very unique physical design.
Okay, so that's the flashy design approach. What about a phone that's maybe less about looks and more about useful software?
For that, let's look at the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE. Reviewers seemed less wowed by the hardware design, which is probably pretty standard Samsung fare, but really highlighted one specific AI feature: text call.
Text call, what does that do?
It's pretty clever. Imagine you have to call your internet provider or some other company with those awful automated phone menus.
Ugh, the worst. Press 1 for.
Exactly. Text call essentially listens to the call for you, transcribes what the automated system or the person on the other end is saying in real time, and lets you respond by typing text messages. The AI then speaks your text responses back to the caller.
Seriously? So you could, text negotiate a bill increase without ever having to listen to the hold music or the robot voice?
That's exactly what one reviewer said they did. Successfully negotiated a price hike with their ISP entirely via text through this feature. It skips the whole frustrating audio part of the call.
Okay, that sounds genuinely revolutionary for quality of life. Forget rear screens, I want that.
Right, it's that kind of practical, useful AI integration that really resonates. And apparently the phone's performance is solid too. Good battery and pretty fast, 45W, charging 0 to nearly 70% in half an hour.
Yeah, utility often wins out. Speaking of utility versus form factor, what about the new Microsoft Surface Pro 11? It's got that super powerful Snapdragon X Elite chip inside.
Yeah, the performance benchmarks are impressive. Multi-core scores are way up there, competing with high-end laptops. And the battery life claim is huge, nearly 16 hours of video playback in tests.
That sounds amazing on paper, like the perfect mobile work machine.
On paper, absolutely. But the old critique of the Surface Pro form factor, the two-in-one design, it just persists.
What's the issue again?
It's fundamentally top-heavy. Because all the computer parts, the processor, the battery, everything are packed into the tablet screen part. The keyboard is just a thin cover.
Oh, right, so it's hard to balance.
Exactly. It works fine on a solid desk, but try using it on your lap on the couch. Or on a shaky airplane tray table. It just feels unstable, like it wants to tip over backwards. That core design limitation hasn't really changed.
I've totally felt that pain trying to use similar devices. It really underscores that usability in different environments can be just as important as raw power. And you still have to buy the keyboard separately, right?
Still a separate purchase. Yep. That continues to be a point of contention for many.
Okay. Let's maybe wrap up the hardware talk with a couple of really interesting specialized pieces of tech. First, something focused purely on accessibility.
Yeah, the LG Easy TV. This is fascinating because it's designed from the ground up specifically for elderly users.
How so? What makes it easy?
It starts with a really simplified home screen, much larger fonts everywhere, and enhanced screen brightness and voice clarity from the speakers, making the basics easier to see and hear.
That makes sense.
anything else.
Yes. Crucially, it integrates features like medication reminders right onto the screen, and it has a built-in camera.
For easy video calls, the idea is family members can easily call in, maybe help with tech support remotely by seeing the screen, or just have face-to-face check-ins. It's about simplifying the tech to keep older folks connected and supported. Really thoughtful design.
That does sound genuinely useful.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, looking a bit further ahead, something about cooling down data centers.
Right. This is a potentially huge deal for Microsoft, an advance in microfluidic cooling for computer chips. This tackles the massive heat problem generated by today's and tomorrow's incredibly powerful processors, especially in data centers.
Microfluidic, like tiny pipes.
Exactly. Liquid coolant flows through microscopic channels, literally the width of a human hair etched directly onto the back of the chip itself.
Oh, directly onto the chip. What's the advantage of getting that close?
It removes heat way more efficiently. Microsoft says this method is up to 3 times better at pulling heat away than the current cold plates used in high-performance cooling.
3 times better. What does that enable?
Well, potentially it unlocks the next generation of chip designs. Things like stacking multiple layers of silicon vertically, 3D chip architectures which generate immense heat that's hard to manage now. This could make those feasible.
So even more powerful AI chips down the line.
Could be, but maybe more importantly, on a larger scale, it could make data centers significantly more energy efficient. Cooling is a massive power drain globally. Better cooling means less wasted energy, which is a huge environmental and operational win.
Fascinating stuff. So quite a journey today. We went from fighting to keep our VPNs working and maybe getting some cash back from Amazon settlement.
All the way to AI acing the CFA exam and phones sprouting screens on their backs.
And figuring out how to stop future chips from melting.
Yeah, it covers the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
But I think the real thread, the takeaway, has to be about the ever-increasing stakes of data and security. We're building these incredibly useful systems, right? AI that briefs us like a president, AI that passes finance exams.
Yeah, undeniably powerful tools.
But every step we take towards that utility, that hyper-personalization, makes us more dependent on the security holding up. We just have to stay vigilant. Those catastrophic failures we talked about, the Neon app leaking everything, the potential disaster with the unsecured DOGE database, they're stark reminders. The more essential our data becomes to how everything works, the more devastating the consequences are when that security fails. It's a balancing act we're all navigating now.
A crucial point to end on. Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.